Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely incredible. 9 highly profitable business ideas that literally cost next to nothing to start. If you've ever daydreamed about starting your own business but felt totally stuck because you didn't have the cash or the resources, well, this explainer is going to be a real game changer for you. We're pulling directly from our source material to look at real, everyday people who started out in their garages, their kitchens, even their bedrooms, and somehow turned these incredibly simple concepts into massive revenue streams. And the best part? We aren't just looking at what they're selling. We're going to unpack the exact underlying strategy that makes all of this possible.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the home business boom, then crafting for cash, profitable consumables, monetizing your knowledge, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the social media engine.
So, starting with Section 1, the home business boom. Big profits, minimal capital.
Which brings us to Section 2, crafting for cash. This is all about turning your hobbies into actual revenue.
Now, the big theme running through all of this source material is accessibility. You know, you really don't need a massive commercial loan or some fancy downtown storefront to make it work anymore. It's really all about maximizing your creativity and using leverage instead of traditional capital. And this brilliantly illustrates what we call the David versus Goliath framing of modern e-commerce. Take Kelly, for example. She's a busy mom, right? She started selling custom wall art using literally just a printer she set up in her garage. The result? 23 grand in just 3 months. And she even got her first sale on launch day. Or look at Max. He's a 21-year-old making these highly intricate handmade custom wreaths. In 2024 alone, he sold over 2,000 of them, pulling in more than $500,000 in revenue. These are incredibly humble setups, but they are yielding absolutely massive financial returns.
And the sheer diversity in this crafting category is just mind-blowing. It's definitely not just wall art and wreath. Our source highlights this channel called Lingsy Handmade. They create crochet bags and cleverly use YouTube to funnel all that traffic straight to their Etsy store. Then there's a mom who started a side hustle making eco-friendly crayons. It sounds so niche, right? But she is raking in $300,000 a year. And maybe the craziest one to me, a 15-year-old kid who launched a physical product called the Cool Towel right out of his childhood bedroom in Essex. That business is currently on track to pull in over $134,000 this year alone. The breadth of physical products you can create and actually scale from your house is practically limitless.
Moving on to Section 3, profitable consumables, literally selling what people eat.
So crafting physical goods is fantastic for sure, but the absolute magic of consumables is the recurring purchase. If you solve a local problem, people are going to keep coming back over and over. A great example of this is Robin Moore. She noticed a very specific gap in her local market. You see, Robin lives in Kansas City, and the environment there is naturally pretty hostile to growing gourmet mushrooms. But local restaurants and everyday consumers still want fresh mushrooms, and they want them without all the heavy chemicals required for long-distance shipping. Seeing this gap, Robin set up a specialized climate-controlled grow room, probably just in a basement or a spare room, and launched My Cop Planet. By solving that local supply chain issue, she's now providing fresh, chemical-free mushrooms to over 20 local businesses, growing 350 pounds every single week. To put that in perspective, that translates to an estimated annual revenue of $250,000 to $1,000,000.
But you know, sometimes the drive to start one of these consumable businesses comes from a deeply personal place, and, well, occasionally a little bit of spite. Meet Drew Davis. Drew is a teenager who has cerebral palsy. Back in high school, he was given an assignment to pitch a creative product. So he pitched a hot sauce brand. The feedback he got from his teacher was honestly brutal. They called the idea completely unrealistic and slapped a dismal B- grade on the project.
Well, let's just say that discouraging feedback fueled a massive fire. Launching his business entirely from his parents' kitchen, Drew proved that teacher incredibly, undeniably wrong. Get this. Last year alone, his brand Crippling Hot Sauce sold over 500,000 bottles, hitting a staggering $2 million in revenue. No way, right?
What's really genius about Drew's whole business is his branding. He didn't shy away from his disability for a second. He leaned all the way in and brilliantly made light of it. He took lemons and made lemonade, or, highly successful hot sauce. His flavor lineup actually scales in heat, starting with Life's a Beach and then moves up through these brilliantly named tiers like Just for the Parking, Special Treatment, Limping, Crippling Agony, and tops out at the intensely spicy Ghost Pepper Palsy. I mean, it is just an absolute masterclass in authentic, memorable marketing.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking that starting a consumable business is just instant overnight success, let's talk about the true sweat equity required to actually get one of these off the ground. Virgil Dickinson wanted to start a handmade kimchi brand. To build his initial customer base, he didn't go out and run a bunch of expensive ads. No, he made the kimchi and personally delivered his first 500 jars completely for free. And he did this by foot and by bicycle, covering a totally grueling 40 to 50 miles every single day. It was a massive physical grind, doing everything himself. But guess what? It worked. Enough people loved that initial free jar that they converted into returning paying customers, and it eventually replaced his full-time job income entirely.
All right, Section 4, monetizing your knowledge, teaching what you know.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer scale of potential when you package up your expertise. Take a look at the revenue trajectory of Josh Madakor, a client featured in our source material. Josh had some very specific knowledge. He knew exactly how to help people land entry-level IT help desk jobs. So he just started sharing this knowledge on YouTube. In the beginning, it was a pretty modest side hustle, making less than $1,000 a month. But as he kept providing real value and refining his content, that revenue grew to $5,000 a month, which allowed him to quit his day job. Then, by scaling his digital presence, that monthly income exploded to a breathtaking $180,000. He literally just taught others how to do the exact thing he had already successfully done.
And that perfectly sets us up for Section 5, the social media engine. This is the golden thread.
Think about it. Crafting physical goods, selling hot sauce, monetizing IT knowledge. These seem like completely different businesses, right? But there is one singular golden thread connecting every single one of them. See, traditional business models basically chain you to local foot traffic. You're dealing with slow, organic growth and super high upfront marketing costs. But the alternative? The organic social media engine. By combining a fundamentally sound traditional business idea with organic social media content, you create the absolute ultimate catalyst for sales. You unlock completely free global reach, you can speak directly to highly targeted niche audiences, and you enable rapid, almost exponential scaling. Max used social media to sell his wreaths, the 15-year-old used it for his cooling towels, Josh used YouTube for his IT coaching. It is the core engine that drives the modern home business.
To actually put this strategy into practice, the creator from our source material outlines a few of their personal methodologies and tools, which are specifically designed to solve the two biggest hurdles, knowing what to sell and knowing how to get eyeballs on it. They promote a tool called the 60-second niche validator GPT, which is essentially software designed to help you pinpoint the best possible business niche for your specific skills. On top of that, they advocate for a coaching program they call the Content Growth Engine that focuses heavily on the mechanics of growing a personal brand, churning out content, and effectively monetizing that audience, very much like the strategy Josh Madakor used in his IT business.
So we've seen how a basic printer and a garage, a high school assignment, and some everyday IT knowledge can absolutely transform into life-changing businesses when paired with the right social media strategy. The blueprint is clearly there, so I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. Take a moment to look inward at your own life. What unique skills, passions, or even seemingly mundane hobbies do you already possess? And more importantly, how could you package those into one of these three profitable buckets: crafting, consumables, or knowledge, and actually share them with the world? The barrier to entry has quite literally never been lower. The only thing left for you to do is to begin.